Okay. Okay. So yesterday we saw the document, right? So the document is actually your HTML file. So it's going to return what are all the tags inside that HTML element. Okay, so that is the document. So now we're going to get into the DOM manipulation. Okay, so basically what is DOM manipulation? Document object model. Okay, like DOM, the meaning of document object model. That what does it going to do? So it's going to update some UI in your front end, or add some new element into the front end, or we can delete something from the front end. These are the things. That's why the name called DOM manipulation. Okay, we are going to manipulate something from in your document. That's what called DOM manipulation. So now we're going to get into that. So first of all, I want to show you something. So I have some index, some piece of design here. Okay, like a kind of to-do list. So we're going to create this when we get into the project, the same thing. But for now, I'm not a kind of teacher like always going in a theoretical way. That is not good. Okay, so we should want to understand how these things are going to work. So I made some UI here. So that UI takes material CSS, not a bootstrap. It's another framework. So I will teach you that when we get into this project, the same project we're going to do. So the UI is look like this is the UI. Okay, so we're going to learn some DOM elements, DOM manipulation, selecting something from the documents, all the things we're going to learn from this UI. Once we done the basic fundamentals of the DOM manipulation, then we're going to create the same thing. On that time, I will explain you what is material design. This is another framework instead of bootstrap. Okay, so we can also use this, also a cool framework. So I will explain you how this material CSS is actually working. Okay, so far we don't need anything about the design. Don't worry about that. We are just now going to focus on only the JavaScript. Okay, so the first step, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a here. I'll have this, right? So I'll take this one out. Okay, so here I'm going to first thing, how to select a DOM single element. So basically, what is element? I already told you when
anything with the tags, anything
yeah.
within the
So the
bracket of
element
tags.
is the tags contains with the value, inside value, right? So that is the element.
Yeah.
For example, this one. Okay. For example, this is a tag. So inside we have some I tag. Okay, so that we are calling this is an element. So now we have a okay span element. Okay, why we are calling as span element? If there is no content here or there is no class, this is actually a span tag. Okay, just a span tag. If it is there something, a content and a class name, this totally we are going to say a element. Okay, so this is a span element. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to select some element from my DOM, only the single, not the multiple things. Okay, only the single. So I'll call the file here. I will just check this is working or not in my browser. Console.log 123 for the checking purpose. So I'll open my inspect here. So now I can see the 1 2 3. Okay, everything is perfect. So I'll close all these things. We don't need this. So I'll
Sir,
keep.
can you push the CSS and all the codes in
No, I will
GitHub,
teach you the
sir?
CSS later. Okay, don't worry
No,
about
sir,
that.
that GitHub, sir, all the codes in
All
GitHub,
the
sir.
code.
Ah,
Okay,
yes, sir.
CSS code. Ah.
Ah, yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. I will push it to this same folder. Okay.
Ah, yes, sir.
Then the GitHub, so you can download from there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'll keep it like this way so that it's maybe very easy to see what you are doing. Okay, like this. Okay. So the first step, what I'm going to do, is it visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, super. So now we are going to select some element from the document. Okay, before that, what should we want to do? I'm just now going to select using a ID. Okay, so if you see in my HTML, where is the ID? For example, here the main. Okay, so not the main. We'll take something particular thing. So we have a task title. Okay, so this is an ID. This is an ID attribute. It contains some value here. The task title. I'm going to select this one. Okay, so to do that, what I'm going to do, I'll keep it here. So first step, to select the ID as an element, what should you want to do? Always remember, you are selecting from document, so you should want to give the document. You now know what is document. The document basically what? Your HTML file, right? So we going to get some element using the document. Document is an object, so document dot get element by id. Okay, this is everything is gonna be a camel case. Okay, this is the pattern what we are going to use to create a variable, everything. Okay, so this is the syntax how to get the id in a document. Now I'm going to use a console.log. Here I'm just going to put a document dot get element by id. The id was, now I'm going to target task title. Okay, task title. If I do this, I will save now. I get something here, right? I'll get some h file. What I do, I'll just take this out and put it in incognito mode, because there is some catchy problem will happen. Okay, so now we got the h5 here with the class of test. I'll take that class now. Okay, I don't need the class for now. I take the class for now. So now it's returned the h5. Basically, what is this? This is an h5 with the id of task title. When I select the in from the document dot get element by id, I pass the values task title. So this only contain the task title as an id in this h5. So now it's returning here what we are targeted from the document. Okay, so this is one step. So now what if I have any okay, now here you see there is an id in this attribute, right? How can I target the actual id? So to do that, what you want to do, dot id. Okay, so just give me 1 minute. Sorry guys, sorry. So now you see it's returned task title. Okay, why it's returning task title?
It is giving the ID directly.
Yeah, so because we are targeting the id attribute of this task title. Okay, for example, now I'm going to add that in the h5, I'm going to add the class name here, class here called a test. Okay, for example, so now I'm just going to like this way. Okay, I'll take this I'll command this out now, so it's going to run this one. So now if you see, the task title now has class and also the task title. Okay, so we have the both thing here. So now I'll command this out. Now you know, when I target the id, I get the actual id, the task title. What, how can I target the class name now, right? So the class, how can I target the class? So dot the task title is going to return actual the h5. Now here what I'm going to do, I'm going to put dot class, not class. Okay, not class kind of id what we did, no, not like that. So the class name is going to be something different. You should want to give class name. So it's going to return the test. Why it's returning test? Because I have the attribute of class here, the value equal to test. Okay, so now it is returning. So this is how we can select from the document only a single element. Okay, I will give you a lot of examples now. So this is how we would select the document. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to, I don't want to keep on do this document.get element by id, document.get element by keep on, I don't want to do like that way. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to store this in a variable. So task title. So this task title takes a document dot get element by id. I should want to pass the task title here. Okay. So if I console log the task title, what is going to return?
H5.
Okay, super. Now it's returning the h5, actual the h5. Okay, so if I want to target anything, so I can give the dot id here. It's going to return the same way. Instead of hard coding like this way, we are actually storing in some one variable and we are accessing all the things from that variable name. Okay, so now I'm going to use so first step, I want to show you something here. So console.log task title. Okay, so this is h5, right? So this h5 has style element, right? We can able to style in the css. So if you want to change some color, what you do, you go to the css and you change the color of, what you do, the color of,
Particular tag
yeah,
or ID.
yeah, the particular hexadecimal value or the value or you're going to give, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing we're going to do, but not with the using of css. We're going to use with javascript. Okay, so how can I do that? So that's the second question. So what I'm going to do, I'm just put the command here, change style. Okay, so here the task title is, we know the task title is h5 dot style. Okay, dot style. So if I console log the dot style, what is going to return? We'll check that out. So if I console dot log task title dot style, it's returning an object. You see, it's returning an object of collection of name value pairs. What are the collection? You see the CSS style declaration. So if I open this, there is a bunch of CSS property. You see background color, background image, then what, border, the border bottom. We can use these all the, we can access now all the CSS properties here, so that I can able to use that in my JavaScript. This is how the style is actually working. So it can be accessible in the window, so that we are actually going to work with the style. Okay, here. So now you know what is going to return when I put task title dot style. Okay, so that's cool. So now what I'm going to do, I told you this CSS declaration is an object. I want to call some background color here. Okay, so what can I do here? It is an object. What should I want to do? It's an object. How can I target the align items here? So just tell me, it's an object. How can I target the align items property now in the style?
Parenthesis.
Style is an object. Okay, remember here the style is an object. I want to
Dots.
target some object properties inside to the style. How can I target something like this background color? For example, this background. How can I target the background? This is an object. What you do? What operator you use
Sir,
here?
less than symbol, sir.
No, you should use the dot. No.
Yeah, okay, sir.
So because that is an object, so you should want to give the background equal to what I'm going to do. I'm just going to give color of red here. Okay. Now I didn't save this file. So, but you watch here. Now I save this. Now the background color got filled with red. Okay. We are not doing anything in the CSS. We are doing in the JavaScript now. You see the color got added here. The background color is red because we now set to that in a JavaScript, not in the CSS. Remember that. So the task title is an element. That element has an object of dot style. That dot style is an object. I'm accessing one properties of the object that is in background. I'm setting the value to red. So now it changed to red. Okay, so that's cool. Now the second step, I want to change the color to white now. Okay. So the color, I'm going to change this to white. You can use hexadecimal also, no problem. Whatever you can use here. Okay. So now you know the style is an object. The style has a property color. So if I save this, what's going to return? It's going to change the color of the text to white. Okay. So what should I, if I want to add some other padding here, for example, if I want to add some padding, I'm going to give it 15 pixel here. Now you see there is no padding. Each and this is actually close to each other, the color and the text. Okay. So if I save this, now you see the padding got added here. Okay. This is how the style is going to work. Okay. So first of all, you should want to remember one thing. The simple thing, that is the task title is an element. That element is going to contain some styles. So we are using dot style. So the dot style is an object. So we have some property to that style. All the property what we have in a CSS, we can able to access in a JavaScript. So that we are using a dot operator because the style is an object. So we are calling the background color equal to red. Now we understand how this is working.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I want to hide this, what should we do? If you want to hide some element, what should do in CSS, for example, if you want to hide this h5, what you do?
Display none.
Okay. So you will give a display none, right? So if you give that, it's going to disappear from here. So the same thing I'm going to do here. Just anyone explain me what I can do now. So the task title, then what?
Style.
Dot style dot
then
display is equal to none.
Display equal to
None.
so none. Okay. So if I give this, now I couldn't see that element here. Okay, so we are make some disappear from here. Okay, we remove from the DOM. So we are not removing from the DOM, we are just adding the style. Okay, this is not going to remove from the DOM. You see the h5 is still there in the document. Okay, this is not removed from here, we are just using the style to hide the thing. Okay, so that's it, remember that also. So now I'll just command this out. Now you know how the style is working. So okay, the first step, now we are make some DOM manipulation using a style. Okay, so the second step, we want to change some content, right? So we want to change some content. What we do? So change content here. Okay, so change content of something. So now I'm just going to target the task title. It's the task title only. So I will give you the example everything. So now I'm going to stick with the task title. So the task title dot, okay, the task title dot, if you want to change the text of the h5 inside the h5, okay, the text I'm going to change, that property name called text content. Okay, text content equal to, this is now task, right? I'm going to make this task list. Okay, so now I am changing the text content of the h5 inside the task. Okay, now you see there is nothing gonna change, only the inside value only going to change. If I save this, now I have a task type, task list here, because I change the text content. Okay, the text content, the similar, there is one more thing also, it's kind of similar to the text content. So we're going to use a inner text. Okay, inner text, I'm going to use a task title 2 here. So if I save this, now it's also changing the same way. The both are similar, but the property is different. Okay, I always use the inner text only, I'm not going to stick with the text content. I always use to, if I want to change something in the inside of the HTML element, the text only. Okay, I will stick with the inner text, so you also stick with that. You can use what which one you want, that's not a problem. The both is going to work in the same way. So now what if I want to change the exact, like for example, if I want to insert some HTML into this h5. Okay, for example, now we change only the text of the inside, right? The h5 text, it's basically, now the previous time it's as a task, so then we change that to tasks list, and we change that to task list 2. So what if I want to add some new HTML element inside to that h5? So what should I want to do? So there is a
Inner
property
element,
called
sir.
inner
Inner
HTML.
HTML.
Okay, so the
HTML.
inner HTML is going to use for, if you want to insert some HTML element to that actual HTML element. Okay, so this is an actual HTML element. Now we're going to insert some new HTML element inside to that h5. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert some span here. The span going to take task list 3. Okay, I should want to give it in a string. Okay, so span task list 3. Now we have a span here. Now if I save this, now you see the span got added here. Okay, inside the h5 we have the span. If I uncommand this, see this, there is no span inside the h5. But once I insert inner HTML equal to span task list 3 and span, now I have inside an HTML element of span. So this is how you want to change the content of the document, and if you want to insert something to the inner HTML. Okay, so this is how the things are working. So this is how there is only 3 methods to change the content. Okay, so I will give you a lot of methods and properties later on when we get into the project. So now, so this is the one way of doing. Okay, so we can going to get the document.get element by id, but we are not going to stick with this document.get element by id. There is another option using a document.query selector. How's that work? That is going to work like how you going to select the selector in a CSS. Okay, for example, here I'll use a the syntax would be document dot query selector. So document.query selector, what is going to do now? Okay, we want to learn that. So I'm just going to give the console.log. Okay, document.get element, sorry, query selector. Okay, remember, not query selector all. There is a two way. There is a two things there: query selector and query selector all. So here I'm just focusing on only the single element. I'm targeting only the single element, not the bunch of element. Okay, remember that not the multiple element. So here I'm going to give a same thing, task title. Okay, so the task title. Now I will save this. Now I get the same thing. Now you see, now I have the inside, I have the span, and also I target the actual h5. Okay, so you can target like the css. Okay, if you want to target this class, what you do? So for example, there is a card action here, right? So there is a card action. So in cs, how you target this card action if it is a class?
By using dot selector.
So dot, you will use a dot, right? So the same thing you're going to happen. So I'll copy this. Instead of hash, I want to put dot because that is a class attribute. So when I save this, I got the card. The card is actually this one. Okay, from here to inside the card, we have h5 and we have ul and we have a button. That a button is actual clear button. Okay, so now we target the card action now. So that is a class. So we are using a dot operator. So what if I want to target some tag here? So I'm going to target the h5. We have only the one h5. This is task list 3. So if I save this, if I save this, I can get the actual h5. Okay, we can also use the tag. You know that you can access the direct tag name in the css. So if it's class attribute, you can use a dot operator. If it is id attribute, you can use a hash attribute. Okay, so sorry, the hash symbol. So this is how you want to, but we are going to stick with this query selector. Okay, not in that like get element by id, not like that. So we're going to stick with like this way because we want to make something easier. No, so even if it is hash, so we can, if it is id, we can use the hash. If it is a class, we can going to use a dot here. Okay, so this is very simple, also very easy to work with it. So what if I want to change the color of this li? Okay, what should I want to do now? Now you know a little bit about something, how that we are going to access a DOM. I'm going to use a query selector. Please anyone explain how that I can change this h1, the sorry, the li. I'm going to use the query selector. For example, I will give the dot document dot query selector. I'm going to target the li here. So what I want to give here, the second step, I'm going to I want to change the style here now. So I want to do the style, right? Style.
Okay, dot style.
So I want to change the color of the li. What should I want to, the property I want to give? How do I want
Dot
to
color.
Okay, super. So dot color equal to, this is going to be red. So if I save this, now, now I change this text to red. You see? Now it changed to red. Okay, so everything is fine. Okay, so I want to change the color of ul li color to blue. You can target like this way also. I'm just giving how can you target the same way how you are doing in a css. Okay, if I change this, it's now returned to the blue because we are using only the single element. It's going, there is a lot of li here, but it's going to only check for the single element. Okay, remember that. So I'll also take this here we have 4 like that, right? So I'll take this out. Okay, so now we have only the html. First one is only changing now. Okay, we'll keep it like this. Now this first one is changed to blue color. So okay, how can I use a pseudo element here? That last child, end child, odd or even, like that way, right? So we also do that in a css. So I'm going to use a document dot query selector. I'm going to target only the single element. Okay, li last child, last, sorry, here we should want to give the hyphen here. So last child of the style and the color equal to orange. So if I give that, now you see we can also target the, we can also use the like what is that pseudo element also here. Okay, so remember the sorry, pseudo classes. So not the pseudo element is kind of before after for the first line, that is the pseudo element. This is a pseudo class. Okay, we are targeting the pseudo class. So it's going to return sorry, it's going to change now the color to orange because we target the last child of the li, right? So now it's changing. You know this, right? pseudo
Yes, sir.
classes.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
lo-
yeah.
we use a lot in
Nth
SEO.
child first, nth child second. We can also
Yeah,
target
yeah.
like
So
that.
we're going to use the nth child now. Document dot query selector. So I'm going to give the li in the string li, and I'm going to target the nth child, right? So nth child of 3. Want to make this style dot color equal to, I'm going to give a green here. Okay, so if I save this, now we got change this to the green color because we target the third child. So how can I change the fourth text of the content? Now I want to change this text content. So what should I want to do?
Document at query
Instead of
select
dot style, we can
4,
write
sir.
dot text.
3, 4.
Okay, one is the text content and another one is inner
Inner
text. I'm going to
inner
use the
text.
inner text. Okay, so I'm going to target the not the style. So I'll just take this out completely. Inner style, I'm going to change. There is no 4 there. Okay, so list item, I'm going to give 4. So if I change this, you see now list item 4 here replaced here instead of list item. Okay, so now we got the 4 here. Okay, so everything is cool. So I can use the odd or like how to say that, even. Okay, so odd, I'm going to change this style to green only for the odd. So I'll change this to red for now. So if I give red, so now you see this color is okay. Wait, I will check this out. So 1 3, now this color is not going to change because why the odd is not working here, because we are targeting only the single element. Okay, so that's the reason the
ULLI,
query
sir.
selector is not going to select all the elements. If you use the dot odd or dot even here, it's not going to work because the query selector only going to target only the single element. If I use to
Sir,
put all
what if we give ULLI, sir?
ULLI
Yes, sir. Instead of just
here.
LI. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so if I give ULLI, what's going to happen? Is it changing? Only
No.
the first one is changing, right?
Yes, sir.
The green is not changing here. Okay, so if I used to put all here, so I used to put cannot set the property of undefined to settings li. I should want to give that ul. So we'll check that later. Okay, I will give that later, the example. So now we'll stick with the single element. So now the odd is going not to work when you use the query selector. So remember that. So if I want to put the even here, even is what 1 2, right? So this is basically in a blue color. Yeah, I think there's also a blue color. Okay, so if I change this to blue, so this is now changed to blue, but the fourth one is not changing to blue. Okay, remember that. So the query selector is not going to change the odd and even. It's going to select only the particular element. Remember that. Okay, so these are the single element. How can we target using in a document.getElement by ID or the query selector? But we going to stick with the query selector kind of the same way how you going to target in a CSS. If it is ID,
We can also target using class name, right?
yeah, class name. Yeah,
There are
you
like
can also use the class name. Whatever you want, you can give the class name
no,
also.
not by query selector. We can directly write like document
Yeah,
dot
for example,
class name. Get
yeah,
element by class name.
yeah, we can, you can also use the class name also here. That is, the class name is not going to return here single element. Okay, that's the second part is we're going to get into that. Okay,
Okay.
so now
Okay.
you remember the single element, right? So how to select the single element and change the text content, inner text and HTML, and also the style of the content, some content. Okay, we're going to learn a lot of things, but this is the basics how the things are working. Okay, so this is how you're going to select the single element from the DOM. So what if I want to select a multiple element from the DOM? So 3 DOM multi select like DOM. I will keep like select multiple dot js. Okay, so 3. Okay, not 3. All right, this one is 4, right? So this one is 3. Okay. 1. So this one should be 4 single element, and this one should be 5, the multiple elements. Okay, DOM select multiple. Okay, so that's a file name I gave. So now what I'm going to do here, so you asked me a question, no? So that how can we target the class name? We'll check what the class name is going to return. Last time I told you, I showed you that if you use the document.query selector or the document get element by id targeting like only the single element, it's going to return the actual element. Okay, but now the thing is going to be changed here. So document dot get element by class name. Okay, this is the syntax how you should want to target the class name in the document. Okay, for example, here I'll just put const items. Okay, I'm going to target the li, each and every li here. Items equal to document dot get element by class name. Okay, the class name is what? The class name, the li has the collection item. Okay, I'm going to target this all the class we have. You see the li, each and every li has the same class of collection item. I'm going to target the collection item here. Not put, you don't want to put the dot here, okay, because you're already targeting the class name, so you don't want to put. And the same thing, if you're using the query selector id, you don't want to put the hash here. The machine already know you are targeting the id, so that you don't want to put the hash. If you put hash, it's going to return some error. Okay, so now if I try to console log the console.log item, okay, so now I'll put dot here. Now we'll check what will happen if I put dot. First thing, the error only. So you see items, right? So it's not returning anything, right? Because we don't get anything from here. Okay, if I take this dot, okay, I want to change the file name. Okay, that's what the error is not showing. That's why I'm thinking. So here dot slash phi dom element. So I will take this dot. So now I save this. Now you see the HTML collection is empty. The machine does not know the machine now how the machine is now looking. Is there any dot in the class? Okay, that's how the machine is now searching. If there is dot here, it's going to return only one collection. You see, it's returning one collection. So the machine is looking for like that way. So don't put the dot here. Okay, so I'm going to take this out. So now the item is returning an HTML collection. Remember this, these are the very important thing, because you should want to know what the document elements are returning as you back, what the things you are using. So if you use the class name, it's going to return HTML collection. Okay, the HTML collection is kind of array, but it is not an array. Okay, yesterday I told you we check, is it array? So it's not like an array, but it look like an array. You see there is a square bracket here, but look like array. For example, if I try to array to check, is it array, is anything is array, so I'll pass the item here, it's returning false because that is an HTML collection, not an array. Remember that. Okay, so I'll keep like this way here, console log items. So if I try to call the items here, so it's returning some weird kind of HTML collection. What is this HTML collection? So the HTML collection is when you use a class name, it's going to return the collection of the HTML, what the class you put inside in this collection name, the class name. Okay, so how can I manipulate the DOM using the class name? That's the second question. So how can I target the first one of the element and change something to the first element? For example, so you know that now I'm going to, now it's like, it's kind of array, but it's not an array. Remember that. How can I target the first element now? Let me know. It has index. So how can I target the first element of the items? First index.
Nth child one.
So we can put square bracket and we can put the 0. Okay, if I do like that, it's going to return. Now you see this is returning the actual HTML element, not an HTML collection. Once I put item 0, it's returning an actual collection item. Okay, remember that. So if you want to change something color, so what I can do, I'm just going to target the items 0. I can now target the style of that. So the style is going to have a bunch of object collection, object properties, name, value, pass equal to red. So now the first one is now changing to red. Okay, this is how you want to change if you're using the class name. Okay, so what if I want to change the text content, inner text? Okay, the inner text. 0 of the inner text, sorry, inner text should be hello. So if I change this, now it's got changed to hello. Now it's also returning here. Okay, the console is working also here. So it's returning hello. Everything is working good. Okay. So this is how the things are gonna work. So okay, the second step. Now you understand, bro, what going to happen when you put the class name?
Yes, sir.
Okay, super. So the second step, hereafter I'm going to stick with the query selector. So I'm not gonna use that kind of what's that? The class name or ID like that. Okay, so const, I'm going to give the list items equal to document dot query selector. This query selector, I'm going to target the UL. Okay, the UL tag. So we have only one UL here. Basically, I'm targeting that. So here I'll put here. Okay, now I'll put console dot log list item. We'll check what is returning. I will take this and all out. So it is returning the actual input, the actual thing, not an HTML collection. Remember that. Okay. So if now you know this list items return actual UL element. So I can put like this way also, get element by, we're not gonna use like this way. Just I'm showing some example here. The LI collection, the class is collection item, right? Where is the class name? This is the class name. If I put like this, is going to return the collection of HTML. You see, we are targeting the UL. Inside the UL, we are targeting the actual collections of items. Okay, so just 1 minute. Okay, so now we have now we target the HTML collection. Okay, basically what we did, we target the UL here. That UL contains all the list of collection items. So I'm targeting dot get element by ID with the link of the UL. Okay. So, and also I got the same thing. So we are not going to use like this weird kind of syntax. Just I'm showing you how these things are actually working. Okay. So the second step is, this is what is going to return if you want to select the multiple things from the document using the class name or like that. If you want to select the multiple things, so you can use the query selector UL and like this way also. So the second step, what about tag name? So we saw ID, class, but what about the tag? There is another way to target the CSS is like a tag name. No, if you want to target the H5, you can directly target the actual H5. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, so here const list equal to document dot get element by tag name. You see the tag name, I'm going to target the LI, each and every LI. So now what is going to return? We'll check that now. So if I target the console, the list here, so what is returning? So it is also returning the collection of HTML. This tag name is also not going to return as a single element. Okay, it's also going to return a whole bunch of the collections of LI what we have inside to that. We are targeting the actual LI. It's going to return all the LI. Okay, so now if I want to change this LI, what should I want to give here? How can I change the color of this list item now?
Style dot style.
I want to target the index, right? The 0 index, because it's kind of array. So I want to change only this one, not everything. Okay. So if I want to change all these things, I can directly give like this way, I think. Style dot color equal to red.
Square bracket 0.
Yeah.
Square bracket
So
0
now
dot style
like
dot.
this way, we couldn't able to change style. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, okay. So now if you try to do this, this is not going to change everything. You see, we should want to make loop here. Okay, I will give you the example also. I will give you that example also. So now you see, I couldn't able to change the actual color of the LI. Why? Because We are not targeting the actual element here. The element only contains the style and the color, everything. But the HTML collection is not containing that. Okay, so if you see when I console this, so it's not returning me as an collection, the actual element, it's returning me as an array. How can I change the style of the
So
elements here?
of square bracket inside zero.
Okay, so if I now remember one thing. So if I do like this way, now the note the error, cannot set property of undefined. Okay, now this style color returning undefined. So basically what you are doing here, you are changing the color to dot undefined like this way. You are doing like this undefined, like this way you are doing now. Okay, this is not going to work because it's returning as an undefined. Remember that. So that's what it's saying, cannot set property of undefined. So we couldn't able to set the undefined as a property. Okay, so I will explain the error also. So now if I want to target the list of the collection is 0, I'm going to put the style here. So what the list 0 is returning, basically we should check that. Okay, so console.log list here. So what is going to return? It's going to return console.log.
H.
So it's going to return the actual element. So now this element contains the style. I can able to change the style of there. Dot style dot color equal to red. If I give this, it's going to work because we are targeting the actual style. Okay, if I want to change the text content, I can do the inner HTML, inner text, inner inner text to, okay, we'll keep it red. Now it's change the inner text to red color. Okay, the red. So the text we are changing. So okay, so I told you that I want to change all of these text content and also the colors. For example, the color, I want to change all of the elements color. Okay, how can I do that? We should want to use a loop. Okay,
For loop and put
yeah,
the
so we should want to use a loop. So to do that, what should we want to do? I already told you. Here I'll put HTML collect. I already told HTML collection is not an array. Remember that. For example, if I put var, sorry, not var, we are not going to stick with var. So var array equal to, I'm going to put 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so I'll console log the array, console.log array now. So what it's going to return? It's returning 1 2 3 as an array. If I open this prototype, you see there is a prototype for this array. I can have a bunch of method here. Okay, I will take you this prototype later on. So just stick with this. Okay, there is a bunch of methods here. Okay, I'm going to use a loop. What I'm going to do, you already know that we're going to use a for each. Okay, we're going to use a for each. For example, if I want to check, is there any include here? So for example, include, if I check 5 here, it's going to return what? True, because here we have a 5 here. So if I put 7 here, what's going to happen? It's going to return false because in that array there is no 7 as an element. So I'm going to use a for each here. Okay, the for each going to loop through all the things. So array contains for each. The for each takes a function of the callback. I will later on I'll teach you what is callback, everything. Okay, so this takes each and particular iteration of the numbers. Okay, I'll put num here. Num. I'm just going to return, not return. I'll put like a console.log. I'll put num multiply by 2. Okay, if I do that, what I'm going to get? 2 2s are 1, 2 1s are 2, 2 2s are 4, 2 3s are 6, 2 8 and 10. Okay, this is how the loop is going to work. But okay, now this is array, this for each now working. I will command this out here. Afterwards we will go and check this. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to loop through this li. For example, if I try to console log this li, what we get? HTML collection, not an array. If I open this, is there any for each method here?
No.
No. So we couldn't able to do that. The loop, the thing we used to put in the array, no, we cannot able to use the for each to this HTML collection because there is no for each for the HTML collection. Okay, so remember that. So to do that, what should I want to do? First step, I want to convert that HTML collection into an array. Okay, convert. So first step, we'll check list dot for each. Okay, So the for each takes an each and particular element inside each and every element. Okay. So if I try to console log the element here, what I'm going to get, we'll check that out. So I'm going to get list dot for each is not a function. Why this is saying? Because there is no for each for the list prototype. Okay, I showed you that. So now what should I want to do? To do that, I'm just going to convert HTML collection to an array. So if I change that to HTML collection to an array, I can be able to loop through all these things inside the element of the list. So now what I'm going to do, const list array list equal to list. How can we change the to array? There is a syntax I told you that in array session. Array from what thing I want to change it as an array, the list. So if I wait, I will get this out. We'll check if it is array or not. Now we'll check this one. So I'll put it, I will take this out and I'll pass the array list here. So if I check, yeah, it's returning true because now we convert the HTML collection to an array. So now if I try to console log the array list, what I'm going to get? I'm going to get the array of collection, not an, you see, it's returning as an array of collection. If I open this, we have the index. If I open the prototype, we have all the methods what the array is going to have. Basically, we change that HTML collection to an array so that we can now access all the property what the array is now contains in a JavaScript. So everything is good. How can I loop through that? You already know that what we're going to do now. Instead of doing list of for each, I want to give array list of for each here. Each and every element is going to return as an element. So this element is going to contain all the style. Okay. So I can change the element dot style now dot color to color equal to red. If I do like this, so now every content now changed to the red color. Now we understand why we are using the loop and how we are using and how we are looping through all the elements from the list and array kind of things. So the same concept yesterday I teach you, but I hope not there in here. Okay, what we did, so the script doesn't return as an array, it's written as an like HTML collection. So we change that to array and then we try to loop through all the for each using the for each. Now we change the get the source of that array. Okay, so the same thing we doing now. So it returns as an HTML collection. We convert to an HTML collection to an array. We loop through all the list of all the element of inside the array list, and we change the color of that each and every element. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
But instead of going through all this, could we have done it by using directly just class and selected all the list items?
direct what brother? I couldn't get that.
Instead of doing selecting by query, can we have, could we be able to convert this to red using just class and selecting all the items?
Yeah, you're asking how to select all the element.
No. Instead of doing this, now we did it using get element by tag name.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
instead of that, could we have done using get element by class
Select.
name?
Yeah. Yeah, the
And
class
we
name
have
is
select.
going to return the same way. If you want to put that here, we'll check the console log here. Okay. For example, if I put what the class name is written, it's also written the HTML collection, right? So you see the console returns as an HTML collection. You couldn't able to loop through all these things. So you should want to change that item here from array. I'm passing the items here. If I do this, it's going to work in the same way. Okay. I'm just changing the name of that. So now we are using the item here. We change the item to an array and we are passing the for each and we are working with here. Okay. So I'll keep it like this. So afterwards you go and practice that out. Okay. So I'll keep it like this way. So now we change the every color to red. If you want to change the color to blue, one place, if you do that, it's going to apply to all the element here. Okay. So now cool. So now
so here we can select even and odd.
What, brother?
Here we can select even and odd.
Yeah, you can select even a tag name or class name here. You can use both things, but we are not going to use this thing. For the example only, I gave this. Okay.
Okay.
We are going to stick with the query selector. The query selector is going to be different. Now I'm showing that example. Okay. After that, we'll close the session. So I'm now going to use a document.query selector all. Okay. Document dot query selector all. So this is the syntax. So we saw class name returns an HTML collection. Then the tag name returns an HTML collection. What is going to return? What the query selector all is going to be returned. That is going to be different. Okay, it is going to be very easy. So const items equal to document dot query selector all. I'm going to target the, so I'll put what UL items like this. Okay, UL item. So here I want to put the UL li. If I do like that, what I'm going to get, will console log and check that. Console.log UL item. So I get node list. You see, last time we tried to get some element from the document using the tag name and the class name. What it returns?
HTML collection.
HTML collection. Okay. So this is also returned as an HTML collection. Remember that this is very important. So that's what I'm keep on saying that. Okay. So cool. So now when I used to put a query selector all, what I do, I'll do like this way. Okay. The direct child of every li, ULLI. Okay. I'm targeting the all li here. Now it returns an node list. So what the node list is going to do, that's the second step. Okay, for example, if I want to loop through all these things, so I will take this out. Okay, now this color back to black. Now I am going to loop through using a for loop here. Okay, for I, for let equal to I, sorry I equal to 0. Okay, I less than ul items dot length. So the condition, I want to increment the I plus plus, then I should want to put items is an what kind of sorry, the ul, right? Ul item is an kind of array. The node list also look like array, but it's not an array. Okay, remember that. I can get the index, I can get all the index in the I, so I can pass the I here. Each and every iteration, the 0 is going to run 1 2 3 4. How the length is going to run? Okay, length. So I'll put here dot style dot color, color equal to blue. If I do that, now this we did using a for loop. The same thing we can use for the HTML collection. Afterwards, you practice that. Okay, so no problem about that. So now we do that using the for loop. Okay, so everything is fine. So is there any option to use a for each here, or I want to change that, or I want to convert that node list to HTML collection? That's the second question the mind think, right? Now what I do, I will open the node list. Okay, the node list contains the prototype. We'll check the prototype. So is there for each here?
No.
No.
Yeah. For
Is there
each,
for
yeah,
each for the node
yeah,
list?
yeah.
So you don't want to convert to an array. Okay, but this is not an array. If I try to check this, if it is an array, for example, I'll console log here. If I try to put here the UL, it is returning true or false. It's returning false, right? I'll take this
Yes.
out. It is not an array. Okay, it's not an array. I'm checking, is it array, the UL items? No, it is not an array. It's a node list. Okay, even though that node list contain the for each method, I can able to use the for each directly to the node list. I don't want to convert the HTML collection to an array like this way we did to use the for each, but here I don't want to use that. So what I'm going to do, instead of doing a for loop here, I can call the UL items directly here dot for each. I have the method. So the for each method takes a function. Each function is going to have a element, and the element I'm going to target here element dot the style of the color to blue. If I do, the same thing is running. For example, I will change the color to green here. Okay, now we change the color to green. Okay, so these are the basics of selecting a single element and selecting the multiple element from the document. And these are the way how we going to do, but we're going to stick with the query selector all or the query selector. For the single element, we're going to use the query selector. For multiple element, we're going to use the query selector all, or sometimes I may use that element by ID or the class name for the some, not the class name. I'm not going to use the class name anymore, but I will use sometime for the ID like that way. Okay. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think this is a good place to stop the class today. Tomorrow we get into the DOM traverse. There is a lot to learn in the DOM itself, traversing DOM, creating some dynamic element, removing dynamic element, and event listener, mouse event, keyboard event delegation, local storage. There is a lot to learn. Okay, so today this is a good place to stop. So you should want to learn all these things. So today go tomorrow you can able to join class. Everyone is okay, means we can have a class tomorrow. Okay, so the same timing 7:32 or 7:32 like this time, 9 o'clock until 9 like that way we can decide when the class is going. What, brother?
Sir, in the 10th line, is it any other way we can write, like instead of writing UL, then writing dot element by class 10, we can
Instead
instead
of
write,
using UL, you
yeah,
can
dot collection items we can use, na, instead of UL.
instead of UL you can give the class name. For example, the
Yeah,
UL has a
directly.
class name, right? This UL has a collection of the class name, so you can
Yes.
put dot collection.
Dot collection, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to return the same thing. Okay.
Okay.
Basically, we are targeting the UL. In the UL, I'm targeting the actual class name of the HTML, the collections item. So that's going to return as an HTML collection. So this is very important. You should want to remember the HTML collection and the node list, the different types. Okay, the HTML collection does not contain the for each, but the node list is contain the for each. So you can directly call the for each to this function, the method here to the UL items. Okay. So this is the difference. There is no other difference. If you try to loop through something, you should want to change that to array, the HTML collection, and you should want to do like this way. If it is using the query selector all, basically it's going to return as a node list. The node list contain the for each. That's what you are using here. So everything we are using already, one human return the code like this way. Okay. Now the step what we are doing, we are just understanding what that developer, how the developer created the JavaScript, and we are using all the functionalities, all the ideas, how to create some project. That's the thing we are learning. Okay. If you don't know these things, you couldn't able to, even if you are a good logical thinker, you couldn't able to implement the logic here. Okay. In a programming, because you should want to understand how the language is properly working, then only you can able to put all the logics, all the different kinds of things, ideas here. If that's not, if that's the if you don't know how the programming is actually working, then how could you able to put all the ideas here, right?
Yes, sir.
So the lot of institute, what they are doing, basically they basically teaching to create a project, but at the end of the session they know only how to create that project, only what the project they have been working with the teacher. After that they don't know what to do, because they don't know how the language is gonna work, right? So now you know how the language is going to work. So we're going to use a lot of project, lot of ideas to implement. Once we completed the project, I have the confidence you can able to create your own project, not a bigger project, but you're going to understand all these things. It's going to make you it's going to make things easy to understand and to create some new project with some company. If you are going for some company, everything, if you look some other people code, you can able to that's my goal actually. Okay, not every developer is going to work from the scratch, from the 0 line to 10,000 line. Not that every developer is going to start from the 0 line to start from the var cons like that way. They are just going to copy the some other people code, but they understand some other people code. They know how to manipulate the code as per the project requirement you need, right? So this is the way how we want to learn. So don't think about like when we going to code, like that way. You're not gonna code always. You're going to copy from some other people from the Stack Overflow or free code camp like that way, but you should want to understand the code. That's the main important thing of the developer or the programmer. Okay. So everyone is saying why you are not coding like this way from the scratch. Not everyone, not at all. The 0%, 900% all the developers going to copy the code. Okay. The CSS only, it's
Yeah.
going to be a little harder, because you should want to think some design logic. So to make some layout like of things, that is very easy. You already know that. But when it's come to the programming kind of thinking a logic, you already have 95% of the logic in the Google. You should want to know what logic I should want to use this time. So that I couldn't able to help that. Even no one's going to help that with you. You should want to think that, okay, if you get the code, you're going to understand the code, because that's what the course is, the goal is. If you understand the code, you can able to implement all the code in your project requirement. So you're going to make some good product. Okay. So this is the way of learning. So today
Okay,
is
sir.
a good time to stop, I think. So we'll start the class tomorrow. Okay. So if everyone is okay, if not okay, just let me know in my WhatsApp so that we can have some idea to tomorrow. Okay. About if there is a class or not.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Shall we close?
Okay, yes,
So
sir.
please
Yes, sir.
practice all these things. This is not kind of HTML, CSS. That is kind of something different. You are not going to put lot of syntax like that way. But here, it's kind of weird syntax now coming into your mind. So you should want to practice. If not,
Sir,
yeah.
sir, any PDFs or the slides which you made for JavaScript? Do you have, sir?
Yeah, this is a basic concept. I think I almost give all the, like, how do I say that?
Okay, sir.
Commands
Yeah,
here.
sir. In
Okay, for
comment
the
section.
for
Yeah,
the
yes,
high
sir.
advanced level, I have the PDF for that. So for these, I'm not going to
Okay,
have
sir.
any PDF. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So you don't need a PDF. You should want to understand these things. For the
Yeah, sir.
objects
Yes.
kind of things and the function things, we should need a PDF. But to make
Sir,
some PDF, it's not making a sense anything. Okay.
sir, do you know any good app which I can use to learn JavaScript, like for compiler purpose?
You can use that.
I don't have. I used to
No,
carry
no,
phone
don't
with
use
me.
any app. Okay, don't use any app. So
No,
I think JavaScript info. I think
no, sir.
JavaScript.
I used to carry phone, sir, with me. I don't used to carry laptop or computer to
Okay.
colleges.
So I
To
will
in
search it and let you
teachers
know,
used
brother. What
to.
app is
You can use
Yeah, sir.
Notion. Notion. You can use Notion for mobile.
Notion, right? This one. Notion or what? The Notion is actually
Yeah.
the this one. Okay, you are asking the productive software.
Yes, sir. For
Yeah,
compiler
the
purpose,
Notion
sir.
is good. Okay, I am thinking that you going to have a app for the JavaScript. I think from the Play Store. So Notion
No,
is
no.
very good. Notion is
Okay, sir.
very good app. So you can use this Notion. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, brother. Shall we close?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Take care,
Yes,
guys.
sir.
So please practice. So hereafter you should want to practice everything. Okay. So please practice. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.
Yeah.